Hi, my name's Shelley. This is my vlog, The Willow Tree Green. It's a rainy Sunday here today. I thought I would come on and do a quick update video to go out on my normal Monday, just to say a few things that I've been making. No clothes this week. I'm sticking with the quilting theme. I finished my originally I was thinking it was going to be a table runner, but when I held it up to the light and I saw the light coming through the stars, I loved it so much that I've actually turned it into a window treatment to my back window. And it does darken things down. In the summer, we get a lot of sun through this window, so it's going to be fantastic for giving us a bit of shade. In the winter, I might take them down. It has darkened it down a bit, but it also stops the glare for me because I sit here working during the week as well. So I'll put a picture up of what that looks like. I'm absolutely loving it. I just sewed some buttonholes, circular buttonholes, at the top of the fabric, and spaced it as evenly as possible, given how well I space things. And then I've put some black ribbon through it to then attach it to the curtain pole that I've got up there. We've never really had curtains up here before because, well, it's where my desk is sat up against, so it doesn't really work for me with curtains. So to have a little bit of shade is actually quite nice. We could roll them up, so they are pretty much roller blinds, I guess, without the roller pulley mechanism. And I just finished the edges with a raw edge. I just put it through my overlocker just to stop the fabric from fraying. At some point in the future, I may change their function, so that worked as a temporary measure. And because the fabric is grey, it actually works really well. I hope I can see my phone is wobbling, probably because I'm leaning on my desk. So hopefully that's not coming out too much in the video. So what else have I been up to? I just realised that I hadn't brought something up onto my desk. That's just a very old bag that I made many, many years ago before I knew what I was doing. And it's full of fat quarters right now. And little 5-inch squares or 4-inch, I don't know what size they are. Some little squares for a future project. So bear with me. So what I have, so I like trying out quilt blocks, basically. And so this is the star block. This was a test. Some of the fabric got a bit stained. So this was a test, and it is literally just half square triangles. That's the word I was looking for. So you can see there that that's just it's just the way you join them up. And if you use very contrasting fabrics, it really works well to create the pattern. This is just a little orphan block with some stained fabric that I didn't really like the pattern of those ones. So that's a spare. I don't know what I'll do with. And then I thought I would try another block pattern. And again, I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but it is big enough that it could potentially be a little throw pillow. So I again was watching Missouri Star Quilt Company, and it was a surprise. It was their squares, one of their triple play ones, where they're showing you how to do the square in square quilt block. And I think Jenny Doan's square was a surprise, and it was the sort of on the diagonal. And I just really, really like how that turned out. So when you originally do it, it's square, and then you can put these pieces on, and I've put a border around the outside. And I have these two quilt blocks, which are contrasting. And I love how they look together. So I haven't finished these in terms of I haven't quilted them or anything on the back yet. Not quite sure what to do with them. Again, I could potentially fold them in half and turn them into a little bag. So you've got one on one side and one on the other. But I don't really know what I want to do with them yet. But I'm sort of experimenting, I guess, with the quilt blocks. And each of these have got the same little, I used a little bird from this. This was a fat quarter that I had sitting in my stash. And this is another Cafe Facet 10-inch pre-cut pack that I got from the same company that I mentioned last time. So yeah, so they've both got a little bird on. They're just facing opposite ways. So yeah, so I'm really enjoying making the quilt blocks, and I find it very relaxing and creative in a different way to garment making. I think, as I mentioned in my last week's vlog, I'm just feeling a little bit oversaturated with clothes at the moment. So taking a break and doing quilting instead is working out great for me. It does mean my house is going to be absolutely covered in quilt blocks, which I'm not that upset about, to be honest. So those are some potential future projects. I don't know what I'm going to turn them into. And I dragged my husband to Hobbycraft yesterday and picked up, they do a 3 for, really wobbling. I don't know why. Sorry about that. They do a 3 for £21 on their back quarter sets. So I picked up 3 of those, and I also got a spinning mat. You probably can't see it there, but it's one of the mats that you can spin around, and helpfully this one also has inches on it, because I do find it easier, especially when doing small things, to work in inches rather than centimeters. So yeah, so that's coming in handy. The next thing that I've done this weekend, so that was probably Friday night, because I'm just so into it. I don't normally quilt or do any sewing during the week because I'm just too tired at the end of the day. So I usually just spend a weekend doing it, but I've been so excited about doing these quilt blocks and cutting things out and all of that I actually did that before the weekend started. So yesterday we went to Hobbycraft, like I said, and I picked up some more fat quarters. The intention was, I had this idea for a quilt skirt. I say I had this idea. I've been watching lots of YouTube videos about quilting, obviously, and one of the ones that comes up quite often is a quilt skirt, or a quilt skirt, a Christmas tree skirt. And I really fancy making one, and I had intended to go and buy Christmas fat quarters. My hair is so crazy today. I don't know why, but I just keep seeing it go. Anyway, so in the end, I didn't buy any Christmas fat quarters, but I did have some in my stash from last year. I think a gift to November, I was making a bunch of stuff, and I had a few left over. I'm trying to remember how many, in fact, and I'll probably be able to show you in a minute. So we only have a very skinny, I'll see if I can put a picture of, we've got a skinny tabletop artificial tree. And last year I just put some fabric that I had sitting around the bottom of it, but I have since given that fabric to one of my kids. I think my oldest son, Zach, has got it. So I don't have that fabric anymore to sort of wrap around the bottom. So I really would like to make a quilt skirt, and it's very simple. It's basically a circle skirt. And I found this template. I have cut it very short because it's going on a table, so I don't need a massive, great big tree skirt. So I've actually cut it shorter than the template goes. But this is from a company there called Freckles & Co, as you can see. It was just a free wedge template that I could cut. It goes quite large. So yeah, so I think they've got it says there at the bottom. Small is a radius of 90, medium a radius of 22, and the large is a radius of 25. I've actually cut it shorter than the smallest size there, so that it would just fit on my table, and I actually think it's still too big. And then what I did was, with the it says to cut, I think, what does it say, cut? I've stuck it together so I can't actually see. Cut 16. So you cut 16 wedges and it makes a perfect circle. So again, I didn't quite have enough to cut exactly 16. I found from a fat quarter I could get, I think, 4 wedges if I didn't care if the directional wasn't directional. A few of my fat quarters definitely are directional, but I've put the ones that are upside down at the back, so you won't actually see them. So I'm not that bothered. So the first side, the front of it, because this is actually reversible. I didn't look at the instructions, but I'm sure they've got very good instructions if you go and look at their website. I'll try and dig it out and put the link to where I found this template below, but I didn't actually follow their instructions. I just made it up. So I just cut as many wedges as I possibly could, and then I put them in a pattern that I quite liked. It actually works quite well as a waist apron if you wanted to do that. And I've just put them together like this. So you can see this one here is upside down, but as you get to the front, they're the right way up. So I've just attached them together, put some bias binding around the top, and I've actually left it open so that I've got a drawstring. Don't know if I'm going to need that or not. Obviously my tree is not up right now for me to test this. And I've put some ribbon, which didn't really work. I should have gathered it, but you live and you learn. And then I've put some ribbon down the straight edges, and again I put ribbon around the bottom, and because it is straight cut, it's not the best thing to use on a circle bottom, but it works, and it's a tree skirt. Doesn't need to be perfect. And again, I just put some of this gold ribbon on it just to play around, because this was kind of a test, but I like it enough that I think I'll probably use it. So yeah, so here is my quilt, the one side, and then on the back I've got some other Christmassy themed back quarters that I had, which again I just so if I wanted it could be reversible, but this is the back side for me. So we've got the Grinch in there, and we've got rabbits. The rabbits, I only had half a fat quarter, so they're actually cut sideways rather than long ways, which is why they look like that. The penguins here, I think I've got some upright and some downright. Again, because this is the inside, I didn't really mind that. And I've just made sure that on this side, the bits that are upside down are going to be at the back. So on the front, they'll be facing the correct way. And yeah, I really like that. In the end, I think I used something like 8 fat quarters to make this. So that's 1, 2, 3, that's 4 fat quarters on the front. And then, yeah, so I had part fat quarters. So I guess 4 on the front, and I had to piece a couple bits together from the edges. So these two are sort of, well, that one on the side there is a part. So yeah, so 4 fat quarters, and if you wanted to back it with something else, you absolutely could, but because I had some extra, I just put it together. So I've got a nice little quilt, I keep calling it a quilt skirt, tree skirt for my Christmas tree in Christmas. Is it too early to start thinking about Christmas? As a mum of 4, although all my kids are now grown up, I'm usually thinking about Christmas most of the time, but I am trying to get to the point now, because all my kids are grown up apart from the youngest, who's 14, they don't really need presents anymore, so I need to try and get out of the habit of giving them hundreds and hundreds of presents. I'm not quite there yet. I'm hoping this year will be the year. So yeah, so that was my other one. Again, I'll put all the details down below in case you're interested, but it was very simple. I literally just sewed the wedges together, bound the top and the bottom and the sides, and job done. So that was the tree skirt. Now oh yeah, so I also, last night, seriously, it took so little time. I was actually really surprised. Using I think this is 7mm diameter rope, I made some more bowls. So these are using some of the offcuts I had from the cafe facet, I don't know how to say that, from these quilt blocks. So I had some offcuts, and so I made 3 more of these bowls. And because I actually used matching thread to put them together, you can't actually see the thread. Now I like the raw edge, but you could, of course, I'm sure there would be a way for you to stop the fraying, but I actually quite like that. And yeah, so I kind of color coordinated them, and I completely guessed the size. I was just, as I was making the base, I was kind of just eyeing it, and somehow I've managed to make them all the same size. So future Christmas gifts, possibly for my husband's work colleagues. I hope they don't watch YouTube videos randomly. But anyway, more bowls, and I really enjoy it. And literally, I did this yesterday evening, and I knocked out these 3 in less than an hour, I think. Maybe a bit more than an hour, I'm not sure. But yeah, really quick. And today, I've been watching Pink Cut Sew, a YouTuber. Love her stuff, and one of her big projects that she did last year, I don't think it was this year, it might have been this year, was the wonky houses and wonky trees. And it's like, I like drawing and painting, and quite often when you're following a pattern, it's very prescriptive. It doesn't have the the creative element of it that I like. So to seeing these wonky houses and how she just made it up as she went was brilliant. So I just found a thread that I'll need to fix in a minute. And so I thought I would have a go. Now this one is my first, and I definitely did things in the wrong order. So I've watched a couple of her videos, and she does have a little booklet which I'm tempted to buy actually to explain the process. And I definitely did cut things in the wrong order. So this is my first attempt at a wonky house block. So he is from one of the Christmas back quarters that I've just made my tree skirt from. And there's a skinny little door. This is, again, Christmas fabric. And so, yeah, I'm actually really pleased with how it came out. Like I said, I did it incorrectly. So I had to fudge it a bit to get it to fit together in the end, but I think it's okay. And I actually did square it up, and it works out to be about, what is that, 6¾ inches by almost 8 inches. So I think the only thing that she said is to try, if you're intending to put these into future projects, is to try to make them uniform. The hardest part for me was squaring it up, because I'm useless at squaring things up. So first one, I'm hoping to make a few more of those today, and potentially put them together in a much bigger project. I haven't made a big quilt. The window treatment is just up there. That's the biggest thing I've made so far. And I would like to make a proper quilt in the American style of quilting. So yeah, so I'm really pleased with that so far. I think he's dead cute. And I've picked out this guy who is from the Grinch back quarter that I had. Little, where is the camera? There you go, little doggy that I picked out. Honestly, I can't remember the name of any of the characters out of the Grinch. So if anyone knows what his name is, let me know. I was thinking he's going to be my door, and I'm just going to build around that and possibly put somebody in the window. So yeah, these are like little bits that I've got left over. So I've got a few of him that I could potentially use. So yeah, and I've just sorted my scraps into colours. I seem to have a lot more green than any other colour, which I suppose is because I like green. But I also have this wedge of these little squares that I could always cut into if I wanted to. And a whole bunch. I've still got a lot of fat quarters in here from last year, but a whole bunch that I bought yesterday. I actually bought 4 because one of them was in a what's the word I'm looking for? Clearance pile. And it's the one that was in the clearance was this one, which I've used before. I made something for my sister in that, and a little basket thingy, which I can't see where it is. I made a little basket thingy out of this, and I really like them, so I got them again. So I really like this top one. It's got little lion faces on it, and the bottom 2 are seaside themed. So I'm really looking forward to using those. So that's my plans for the rest of the weekend, and yeah, I'll keep you informed of how things are going. Thanks for watching. Bye.